Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Spunkify here at PAX East in Boston, doing some coverage at the Robot Entertainment booth. We're checking out their new title, Orcs Must Die, Unchained. There, I got it right? Yeah, there we go. All right, and with me, we've got the designer here, Ian. Ian, how are you doing today?
Good, doing fantastic.
Awesome. Now, Ian, can you tell us a little bit first about the Orcs Must Die franchise? This is new to the free-to-play. Previous games in the franchise were not. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the, what do you do? Obviously, Orcs die. That's the big part of it.
Orcs have to die. So we've done 2 games prior to this. Obviously, the Orcs Must Die, the first one, and the Orcs Must Die 2, the sequel. The first was primarily single-player game. The second, we allowed co-op. They've both been described a little as a third-person tower defense game. We had you playing as the War Mage, and you lay out a good mousetrap of traps, be attacked by the Orc armies, try to fend off by having a better set of traps and using your tools to better effect against those enemies. The second one, we allowed you to co-op and bring a friend in and kind of do the same thing. And now here we are. We're doing the third one, and we've been talking about doing multiplayer for a long time. People have been asking us to do a multiplayer version of the game, and we said when we got one we liked, we would start working on it. And that happened about a year and a half ago. We started to get a prototype together that we liked, so we've been working on that since then.
So you say multiplayer. Obviously, the second Orcs Must Die had multiplayer in it, but it was primarily, of course, PvE. This one, Orcs Must Die, and Unchained. Unchained and Leash. I'm going to say about Orcs Must Die. Orcs Must Die Unchained is a more PvP focused game, but there's still some of that PvE elements to it. Of course, it still has a lot of the bloodline of the originals. Can you kind of explain what's different mainly?
The game is played different ways by different people. It is a competitive game. Right now we are focused on 5v5 head-to-head. We're a fairly small company, so there are a lot of things we can do with this, and we do have plans for doing solo play. We have plans for doing single player with AI bots fighting one another. We have plans for teams of players fighting against bots, co-op comp stomp. We have plans for a lot of those things, but because we're 50 people and we're trying to get the right game together, a very polished experience for players this summer, we're really focused on 5v5 competitive play right now. So what you're seeing in here, we're running 2 full stations here with 5 players on each side playing head-to-head games against one another. That's different from what we've done in the past, where it was definitely either single against the computer opponent or you and a buddy. Now you're going to be fighting against players. We've divided. If you've played the old games and you've done some of the defense, that aspect of the game will feel very similar now to you. You go out, you build traps, the enemy waves come in and attack you. You're trying to get a better mousetrap set. You're trying to stop them from getting through. But now we've added the offensive side. So this is something you've never done in any of the Orcs games. Now you're going to be able to go and you're going to be able to program those waves yourself. You're going to be able to summon the armies you want to attack with, and you're going to be able to lead those guys through the enemy defenses. So now we're giving you the experience not only that you had in Orcs Must Die, but from the other side of it, from the attacker side as well.
So previously, when you wanted to sort of customize your character, you unlock things kind of progressively. Using skulls, you would get like new gear, you get different, the spellbook, you would get new gear or new traps. How does sort of those elements play into this game? Because this game is going to be free to play. Are those things that you're going to purchase, or how exactly do you sort of customize your loadout? So
we're using a card metaphor. We kind of we look at Magic the Gathering as the way that they've done it as some inspiration for what we've done, and we kind of looked at what we did with our old version of the game with the spellbook. So what we have set up here is that everything you see, all of the heroes in the game, the weapons, items, really the traps, the minions that they can summon in. There's a thing called glyphs. There's a number of things, all the vanity. These are all represented as cards, very much like what you would have in the old spell books where you would select those things in the books. We use them now as cards. Players have a whole set of cards depending on how long they've been playing the game, and they choose from those cards and they build a loadout. And those are the things that you'll see on the bar at the bottom. Every one of those things has been picked by a player. Here at the show, to make things easy, we're giving people pre-built decks, but you can see some of the card builder, and we'll have that actually in our testing shortly as well, out in the alpha shortly as well.
Okay, so a lot of people, when they look at this behind us and they look at gameplay footage, there's going to be some similarities drawn to other more known genres out there, like MOBA genres. We have, of course, Smite, which is a third-person MOBA. This game is in third person. Obviously, the things are vastly different about the 2 games. But can you tell me really, like, we have the card building, the summonable monsters. Is there towers in this game? Is there like a boss monster? Is there levels or any kind of experience?
You don't level up. You don't level up during the course of the game. You do have some things that there are weavers in the game, so you can purchase some things that make you better. But there's not a leveling mechanic in there. There are no towers in there. There are lane guardians, which a lot of people liken to towers. They work a little bit differently from towers. They actually make the defenders a little bit better, and they open up the glyphs that I was mentioning before. They're all standing on a spot that allows a special kind of trap essentially to be placed underneath them. So one of the strategies that you can follow is to kill off that guy so that you can go put that trap down and open up a lane more. But yeah, I fought a good fight about the MOBA thing for a while. We actually didn't think of it as a MOBA at all internally. And when people started to call it a MOBA, I kind of said, no, we're definitely not a MOBA. But when we started showing it outside of the studio, every person we showed it to said, oh, it's kind of like a MOBA. So I don't want to fight for the next year and a half about whether we're a MOBA or not. So yeah, there are worse things to be than a MOBA, right? I'm happy with it. We think of it a little bit more as a, and when we were talking about it and pitching it to people, we were talking about it as a more strategic Team Fortress 2. Right, or a more strategic version of Orcs Must Die. We still hear a little bit of the, like, it's still a tower defense game, but now there are so many things that are thrown around. It really depends on what person is looking at it and what they want it to be is what they're going to call it, right?
Well, I can say from my personal experience playing it here on the floor and having played the previous Orcs Must Die, that it definitely feels like Orcs Must Die. It definitely has that same feeling. It hasn't changed from that. You still have your, like we said, we still have the traps. The minion monsters, you just seem to have a little bit more control over those things, and it's in a PvP scenario where against other players. So in that respect, it's just kind of like take Orcs Must Die and then duplicate it, like add another side and then flip it so that they're against each other, and you kind of have like the same sort of scenario.
I mean, I think it feels that way because that's how we did it. That's where we started from. And actually in our prototyping, man, we did this a dozen different ways. We tried this. We tried taking turns. We tried everybody attacks while everybody on the other side defends. We tried having it set up so that you could freely move guys around the maps and there were no lanes whatsoever. We've done a lot of different versions of this game. At some point when we get this out there, I want to go back and get all the prototype versions of it that we tried out and put something out about the amount of things we've tried out on this game because we've done a lot of work on this. Okay. We've tried a lot of stuff.
Good. So there are sort of character heroes that you can choose from that have different roles of sorts. Some of them are more offensive in nature, some of them are more defensive in nature. Do any of them have access to special traps themselves or anything else?
Some of them have abilities that work a lot like traps. So in that way, we don't really look at. I will tell you, hey, these guys are more offensive, these guys are more defensive, but we don't really set the heroes up that way. We kind of we're giving them abilities. We have a role sort of for them in mind. But the best ones are the ones where when we get out into test, people start playing with them and using them in the ways that we didn't anticipate. Right? So we try to give everybody something they can do when they're playing offensively, and we try to give everybody something they can do defensively, and we try to give everybody something that they have that's unique to them. Usually a relationship with another minion in the game. So you saw the hero Bloodspike, I think. Bloodspike has a thing with ogres. So Bloodspike can use an ogre bond, he can turn that on, and when he has ogres around, they'll move faster around him, they'll heal, they'll do more damage. So if I'm on the other side of that and I see a Bloodspike coming in, I know, hey, they're probably going to play ogres. If I'm a Bloodspike player and I'm looking through my deck, I'm looking for cards that are going to give me ogres as waves, and I'm looking for bonuses that I'm going to have on ogres, and I'm going to try to put together the best hand I can to get a really good ogre deck. Well, or it depends on what I'm going to do with the rest of the teammates and what they want to do. If I can find another guy that has something that works well with ogres, that's going to be a very powerful team.
Now, are cards, do they expire? Are they expendable? And no, they don't. They're okay. Great.
Once you own the card's yours.
Great. And in terms of collecting these cards, is it going to be something that's very easily done with in-game currency as well as outside, or how are you sort of setting up the monetization of the game?
You buy packs, right? So we have when you're playing the game, you'll be able to buy packs. Probably through achievements, you'll be awarded some packs, and you'll be able to get packs by spending the currency you get by playing the game. And if you want to buy some other packs, you can buy other packs. Our balance, we've talked a lot about the, people have mentioned the pay to win or whatnot. The structure we're taking with that is a lot like Magic. That's where we take our nod from this. And the way that we've been looking at it is, if you look at our higher level stuff, if you look at a fire arrow trap, for example, versus just a regular arrow trap, on the surface it does do more damage, but it's a different type of damage and it works a different way. If you're a better player, you know how to set it up in a way that it's going to, for example, that card in particular, fire damage, if something's already on fire, it doesn't take any more damage if you set it on fire again. So if somebody just stacks those traps up, you're not really doing yourself any favor. You're wasting power that you could have if you had done this correctly. So to be able to get the most out of that, you have to lay those out. At the same time, that card has more vulnerabilities. There's more ways to counter it. So if you're an experienced player on the other side, but you don't have as many cards as this guy, but you know what you're doing, there's still ways for you to beat him just because you know what you're doing.
Now, in terms of release time frame, when do you guys expect the game to go into like a closed beta state, and are you guys planning on releasing it sometime later this year?
Yeah, we're in a technical alpha right now, so we have a few hundred people. We're adding some people into that stage now. This is kind of a unique opportunity for us because we've been getting more than our other games. We've always had a really good community, and we've always been pretty tight with elements of our community. But more than even our other games now, we have a bunch of people that are in there working with us every day and giving us feedback on the game. And we are making changes to this. We are making changes to the game and getting, based on the feedback that these people are coming in, we're getting like real-time changes where somebody will like, I don't know, send you a text message that says this is overpowered or this is this way or I want to see this hero, and we'll make those changes and get it out in a build like an hour later and have those guys playing. So it's been a lot of fun for us to be able to work with people that closely. We'll exit that as we, probably around midsummer, late summer, we'll start to go into more of a closed beta stage. And then if everything's holding up and things are looking fun and people are having a good time with it, probably fall, we'll be out.
Awesome. Well, Ian, it was a pleasure having you. Thanks for showing us Orcs Must Die Unchained. And if you guys want to check out more information on the game, you guys can go ahead and head on over to MMOBomb.com to see the full game profile and more info. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Spunkify out. Later, guys.